So now we're going to switch to English because we have a very special guest today. We have Nico Wertheimer from Waterplan. I don't know, Nico, are you there?
¿Cómo estás? Podemos hacer en español si quieres. Habla un poquito español.
No, let's try it in English because we want to test our AI that we have on our platform, that it's like a live translation from English to Spanish. And I also want to practice my English too.
Ningún problema.
Okay, so Nico, I'm so excited to have you here. I'm so excited to have made a contact with Waterplan. I'm just gonna make a brief introduction about you, so the audience can know a little bit about you. So Nico is the co-founder of Waterplan. It's a platform addressing climate water risk and helping business accelerate the transition to a water secure world. Nico has been working for a decade now. I'm not saying that you're old, Nico, but
I am a little bit older than when I started. Yes.
but we're glad you still look very well conserved.
Oh my God. Oh no.
So he has been working for almost 10 years, for more than a decade in the water sector, and recognized as a Forbes 30 under 30 recipient. I don't know what that means, but I think that you could.
But I was younger.
When you were young. That you were younger. All right. Okay, so he founded the project Agua Segura, a certified B corporation that has provided safe drinking water to over 2,000 people. No, 200,000 people, sorry, through successful projects in Latin America. And well, Nico, thank you very much. I think that the forum is very excited to see you, very excited to see what Waterplan is. Now we have at least 60 people connected that are watching, and well, the forum is all yours, the podium is yours, and thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Can I share my screen? Like, if I share it, like, can you see?
Yes.
Basically, let me see. Am I showing the right one? Do you see accelerating the transition?
Yes, we see.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay, so you did an amazing introduction of my water past. So thank you so much. I am Nico. I'm one of the co-founders of Waterplan. One thing that I don't know if you mentioned is that I have a crazy water story. I am a medical doctor, right? So I studied medicine in Argentina, went to the US, also a little bit in Europe. I also did surgery for a while, and I decided to go back to Latin America and work around water access and sanitation. Like, forest was basically my home back then. I visited rural communities where I spent many months trying to achieve hygiene trainings and water access and sanitation projects to be successful. And then I pivoted basically to the climate world, mostly focused on technology and water, leading with amazing co-founders a venture-backed software as a service platform today used by many Fortune 500 companies. Gabi, is the AI bot working? Is it translating okay? So should I continue? Perfect. Sometimes I speak fast, so just let me know and I will slow down. And so yes, for the past 10 years or a little bit more, guided by amazing corporate NGOs and also public sector advisors, I learned my way towards how to accelerate the transition towards water security, mostly focus on helping companies basically drive their water security strategies using technology in these past 2 years mostly. So we use the Silicon Valley style approach on developing technology to help them achieve their targets, mitigate water risk, and protecting watersheds. That I believe that's what brings us here, talking about forestry and talking about how we can protect the ecosystems, and water being a huge part of that. So basically, that's a little bit of my introduction. That being said, basically, for a water, everybody talks and knows about the water crisis, basically. We are all aware, actually, like right now I am in Uruguay and we are experiencing one of the like most severe droughts ever. Basically, I believe this is not new for anyone. We are seeing this everywhere, like even around Europe, the US, Mexico specifically, and so on. So we know that there's a huge water crisis going on. We can put some numbers, such as the UN states, and how like this over the years is getting more severe. How like we are, like the UN is predicting 40% of fresh water deficit by 2030, and that's right around the corner. And how like 80% of the freshwater withdrawals come from the private sector alone, and everyday products like clothes you wear and food you eat to the energy you use and so on all require like massive amount of water. That's why like we are focusing on helping the private sector to understand how material water is and how they can basically build like business continuity resilience plans while they protect the ecosystem, so we can continue to wear the clothes that we are wearing, and basically we can provide like equilibrium in those ecosystems. But like companies are simply like not responding at the pace that we need, right? That's why I enter into the Silicon Valley world and try to move things faster, such as how like amazing colleagues from the carbon sector basically were showing. Just for you to understand like the water crisis from my perspective, I believe it's a water data crisis, okay? And when I say like water data crisis, I believe like I see, and I have spoken with thousands of companies in the past years. I am not talking about droughts and floods and contaminated rivers. I am talking about data being siloed, like hydrologists having information on one end, like scientists having other data sets and amazing papers being like reviewed with new ways of understanding the water stress, floods, droughts, biodiversity related to freshwater, how forestry basically is related to potential positive or negative impacts. And everybody sees the problem with a different language, right? So the data sets are siloed, the way we understand the health of the watershed is siloed, right? The academia continue to develop amazing reports, and maybe they end up on a university and nobody's using that globally, and they have like a huge potential to be applied everywhere in the world in many watersheds. And for sure, corporations, right? They have like sites all across the world. Sometimes they have like 300 or so facilities that operate using water as the main material, right? And how does a scientist communicates with a corporation to tell that they have developed amazing science to basically understand how they are exposed to water risk and how they can mitigate this, right? So that has called my attention in the past basically years. And I believe that technology can have basically put together all these different dimensions of data. So we built a water plan to provide that single platform to standardize the way that businesses measure, monitor, and respond to water risk. And here I am saying the risk that represents the shared water challenges by all of us, by the communities, by the social sector, the private sector, and so on. Regulatory information on water management, the best satellite imagery on water availability, local facility data to understand values at risk, potential return on investment for corporates, and using AI to analyze potential new trends and news, sentiment analysis on what the community is talking about around water and so on. So this gives us like a better understanding on water availability, water quality, overall watershed health, using technology, right? Like putting everything in one place, updated with near real-time information that it's already available. The thing is that it is not on one place that we can like speak the same language and understand where to go, right? So that was like the problem overall. And what we developed like is this platform that corporates are using basically, and NGO leaders, and I can share that with you in a second. But basically these three pillars of all water data in one place, near real-time monitoring, and defining the right actors to mitigate those risks basically help companies create and follow their water plan. Gabriel, so far so good. I'm just making like a stop because I get so passionate and now surrounded by forests. You know, I do not know what to do.
No, everything
Okay,
is everything is okay. The AI is working perfectly for the translation.
okay,
We don't have questions yet, so if we get
perfect.
anything, I'll tell you. All right.
Thank you so much. I just so basically we build Waterplan to provide like the platform to standardize the way businesses like monitor and respond this by three main ways. The first one was centralizing publicly available data, aggregating the privately owned data on water use and so on at the global and at the local level on a single secure platform to standardize the way we look at water. So basically you can see how in one place you get the best data sets available, either from global satellite imagery orbiting the Earth, like sharing how the big masses of water are changing like month over month, with your own water accounting information, with information from basically reputational like newsletters, newspapers that can help you understand what was going on, as I mentioned before. And then that real-time monitoring adds the piece of basically have the most up-to-date quantification of either that risk and that potential return of investment or basically impact benefit at that level, right? So we centralize the information and we quantify, we can monitor either the risk and the benefit at the facility level, at the forestry level, at the watershed level, at the site of the project. So sometimes, and this is the third and last like unique of Waterplan, once you have centralized information and you have quantified either the risk or the potential response to that mitigation and adaptation opportunity, you need to find who can be the right player to implement a solution. So when I was doing like on my first venture, when I basically like started Agua Segura in Latin America, one thing was really hard to speak the language of corporates and to be found as one of the leaders locally that can help a corporation or a local government and so on to basically implement the right project, right? To understand the way they talked about like risk and the challenges that they were exposed to at the same time as how they understood the benefits, right? So basically with Waterplan, we created this marketplace that connects businesses with local implementation partners and can help basically unite them and understand the impact and the challenges that they are facing together in the same way. So basically we can accelerate the transition towards water security. So basically these were like the best like three uniques or pillars that Waterplan developed on the past 2 years and still growing. When we started, I was like a few co-founders and myself, and now we are like almost 90 people with amazing scientists, like data scientists, like mathematicians, and also like for sure designers, software engineers, water experts with more than 20 years of experience on big brands and big NGOs. And at the same time, we have like a supply team that basically understands and collects, vets and trains implementing partners all around the world, right? So basically, to continue, like we have a specific like case that I can share here with two of our like best like projects that were monitored with Waterplan that I believe can add a lot of value. This was done with the TNC water funds. For the ones that do not know what that is, basically the water funds are groups of like leaders, people who come together to create plans and ways of managing water resources like rivers and lakes at a specific region. Today, the Nature Conservancy has like more than 31 of them across Latin America. And one of the biggest challenges and the way they were facing this data crisis was how difficult it was to share with the corporations that were funding the projects or with between them the shared water challenges, the risk that they were exposed to, right? The data around risk and the way they were measuring the impact or the benefit of their interactions, right? What is called today like and using WRI's like the World Resources Institute framework, volumetric water benefit, right? So companies today are setting these positive claims, and I will share that on a second, or water neutrality, to basically understand how they can give the first steps towards watershed health, right? So they set a neutrality goal. They try to reduce as much water as they can inside their fence, inside their operations, and basically outside the fence, they invest on projects such as forestry projects, like land cover, land conservation type of projects, to basically quantify the benefit on how much the infiltration has increased, how much the recharge of that potential aquifer can be trending up or not. And basically, water funds are one of the amazing vehicles that were created. This alliance of more than 31, like basically was helped by Waterplan, specifically on 9 water funds, like in many locations, because they had like different type of projects and different areas. And we monitored many of those basically using Waterplan's technology. We basically quantify millions of cubic meters using remote sensing and inputs of data sets from precipitation information and so on, to basically quantify how the trends on water availability might have changed given their activities at the field. So basically, if they conserve the field or if they planted trees to work on reforestation initiatives, we could help them like by inputting a shapefile and adding the satellite imagery that Waterplan uses, and also precipitation information, temperature, and so on, estimate the potential benefit of those interactions. And companies today are using those benefits to report against their target at a global level, given basically their water positive or neutrality targets. Just to finish, what I want to share is like we are growing as a company, integrating every day like more sites globally, more projects, more implementing partners that can help other NGOs and for sure corporations to reach their targets, and billions of cubic meters are being monitored from different withdrawal sources for corporations, and also the benefit that companies are addressing by investing in forests, for example, right? These are some of the logos that we're working with just 2 years. We are still babies, and basically we have raised one of our, we are continuing to raise, we are after our Series A, so keep on growing. And we have amazing investors and advisors that have helped us reach to this basically goal that we have of accelerating the transition towards water security. Just to close, these are my beautiful and crazy co-founders, software engineers, industrial engineers such as Oli, and we have like former Coca-Cola water leader, NASA geospatial experts, amazing open data, Silicon Valley leaders, and for sure, I believe you know this guy. So basically that's, and the Branson family has helped us so much. So just to finish, basically, I want to say that I believe we, like the sectors, the crazy entrepreneurs, the passion about nature people, we have the possibility to unite science, technology, and drive collective action towards water. And Waterplan is like just one of the players I believe can add a lot of value to accelerate this transition. Thank you so much. My name, as I've said, is Nico. And if you need anything, like on waterplan.com, I believe you will find some of the answers. If not, please book a meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nico. I think that as a forest organization or forest organization is the first time that we approach to like a company or other organization that it's not based on forestry conservation. And also it's amazing for us to have this, like, to open the scope of the presentations that we do here in Bosques y Tecnología. Actually, the activities that Waterplan are doing, it's amazing. I'm actually amazed by the amount of work that you have that you have put on the company. And I think that most of the activities towards water conservation are super important and nowadays. And well, some of the questions that I wanted to ask is that if you have any experiences, like, I know that you showed us some of the companies that you work with, but can you give us a brief example of a company that worked with Waterplan that was like that you made a successful consulting or a successful project with them?
Yeah, for sure. I will basically address this with with this example, like we had a webinar a few like weeks ago with, for example, Amazon Web Services, like the data center company that basically we run on Amazon Web Services. So it's like a win-win situation. And like these like corporations, as I've mentioned, they have like water stewardship initiatives, right? Like a strategy, a policy. And some of the pillars are usually like focus on what it's called replenishment. So basically protecting watersheds. And they basically aim, as I've mentioned, to quantify how much water they need to, in simple words, give back to aquifers and different water sources to replenish the amount of water that was consumed by their water use, basically, right? So investing in forests, so basically they struggle sometimes to find like which are the right partners that are working on forests that can help them claim and gain at the same time at the specific catchment, which is the volumetric benefit of like protecting this area or reforesting this area, right? So what we did basically is like we structured their targets, like how much water they needed to basically replenish. We found the high risk areas where we needed to work. We then helped them find the right partners for them to invest in those areas. And at the same time, we monitored the benefit of those like forestry interventions, basically. So with that with that said, basically, they could report and like basically continue to accomplish their water positive target that they have set internally to protect their watershed, basically, as one of the pillars. So it's like the end-to-end goes from understanding where, with whom, basically what to do, such as a reforestation project, and quantify the benefit to then report, right? So the whole journey was basically centralized on water plan to get to that big corporation results, right? And I believe like it's super important to share this, because like companies are continue to basically claim more net positive net water, and we are all doing like amazing projects globally, and maybe like measuring water benefits is not something that it's top of the list yet, but we know that there's a huge benefit out of like planting a tree, right? So I believe that I want to mention that, if that makes sense, Gary.
Yeah, it does, Nico. Well, thank you very much. I think that your presentation was amazing. Congratulations for the work, for all the effort that you have done in Waterplan. Also, thank you to Brendan, that was also like assisting the communication between us. And we were so glad to have you here, Nico and Brendan. And I hope that next year you could be also participating in the next Foro Bosques y Tecnología.
It will be a pleasure. Thank you so much. En español, en English, obrigado. Espectacular. Thank you.
Excellent.
Nos vemos pronto.
All right,
muy bien.
Nico. Thank you very much.
Chao.
Hasta
Thank you.
luego.
Adiós.